Hello. This video is very personal because I'd like to be open and honest with you. I'm going to share what I'm currently going through because I'm completely transforming my lifestyle. A bit of background. About 4 years ago, I moved to Finland. It was right in the middle of the pandemic. I flew to join my husband and we went to Barcelona because there was a conference happening there. I wasn't able to return home and ended up stuck in Finland for a year. I found myself staying in a country where I didn't speak the language and I didn't have my winter clothes with me because I hadn't planned on staying. But fate had other plans. I remember it so clearly. My husband and I were sitting on a terrace in Barcelona planning to visit the Sagrada Familia. To give you some context, this was my third time in Barcelona and the Sagrada Familia had always been under construction before, so I'd never been inside. I was over the moon thinking that I could finally see the church from the inside. Suddenly the phone rang. It was my husband's boss. He told us that we had to leave the country immediately because the Barcelona authorities were planning to shut it down the very next day. Can you imagine? It was a complete shock to me. Totally out of the blue. We had to change our flights to that same evening, but we decided to fulfill my long-held dream of visiting the Sagrada Familia. However, you won't believe it, this is where it gets weird. When we arrived at the church, it was closed. So for the third time, I didn't get inside. It was really upset, but there was nothing I could do. I couldn't change the situation, so I just had to accept it. When we arrived in Finland, we had to stay at home for 2 weeks. We weren't allowed to meet anyone in person, even family. This was a huge stress for me. Of course, I had planned to move to Finland eventually, but this was definitely not how I'd imagined it. I had no choice but to stay and accept the situation. That's when a new chapter began. A chapter of stress and fear of the unknown. No one knew what was coming next. Most public places were closed, so making new friends felt like a real challenge, a nearly impossible task. As time passed, I remained in constant stress. The initial excitement of being in a new place faded, and I was faced with a reality that didn't bring me much joy. I didn't know the Finnish language, I didn't have any friends, and most public places were still closed. The worst part was not being able to see my family. All the stress started affecting my health. I was stress eating ice cream and fatty, high-calorie foods, which inevitably took a toll on my body. I gained 10 kilos. Can you believe it? I had never weighed that much. I'm very grateful for this experience because if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have started getting to know myself better, paying attention to my inner world, my inner voice. Before moving to Finland, I was always in a rush. I didn't have time to stop and think, am I on the right path? Am I happy with my life? I didn't have time for reflection. This spontaneous and unexpected move helped me see life from a different perspective. I started working with a nutritionist and focusing on my diet. I've also taken up yoga and started moving more every day. Meditation, breathing exercises, and journaling have also become part of my daily routine. I keep a journal where I write down my thoughts, ideas, and feelings. I also keep a gratitude journal. My life has become so much more mindful and balanced. I've stopped racing towards goals, oblivious to everything around me. Now I'm walking towards them while taking the time to notice the beauty in the world around me. I could have stayed in the victim mentality, blaming the circumstances, but instead I chose to lift myself up and take control of my life. I'm so grateful for this spontaneous and unexpected move because it helped me to get to know myself and start living a different, more authentic life. Sometimes when something we perceive as negative happens, we feel miserable and overwhelmed. But if we look at the situation from a different angle, we can often see that it happened for a reason. It's important to ask yourself, what can this situation teach me? What benefit can I take from it? Remember, we grow through challenges and difficulties. Without such situations, we would just stay on the couch and never strive for anything. If any of you are going through a difficult situation right now, I'm with you. Remember, after the darkest clouds, the sun always comes out. Thank you so much for spending this wonderful time with me. It's very important for me to stay close and to be open with you, to be honest, because it's my personal story and I believe that this story can change someone's life, someone's thoughts. I hug every one of you and wish you a wonderful day. See you in the next video. Bye.